All right, welcome back, students, and happy Friday to you. I hope you've had a good week. What we're going to do now is continue Guided Notes 3 and start squared and cubed units. And these are a little bit tougher because the units are a little different. So far, we've been dealing with units that were off of that metric prefix chart that were not in any complex capacity. So what I need to do now is show you how to square and cube a unit. So when you're looking at this problem, what you want to do first is decide, is this a one-step problem or a two-step problem? You see the base unit in the problem, and remember, when you see the base unit in the problem, that is a one-step problem. Pause for just 1 second, guys, so I apologize. My children are here and I have to fuss at them. Okay, sorry about that. Back to this problem. So we know it's a one-step problem. We're going to start at the starting point. Again, it should have a number and it should have a unit. So here's our starting point, 800.4 meters cubed. So we're going to do the basic same things. Meters cubed is going to go to the bottom. It's one step. We're going to be converting that to centimeters cubed. But here's where the new pieces come in. We don't know what these numbers need to be. We know that the centimeter, because it has a prefix, we know that the centi is a 1, but we need to figure out this power of 10 for our meters. And it's not just 10 to the negative 2, because that's not the exact same thing that we need. We know that 10 to the negative 2 meters is equal to 1 centimeter. Well, now what we have to do is we have to make some conversion here before we can plug that number in. Well, what do we need to do to this unit, meter and centimeter? We need to cube it. So we have to cube that entire thing. So essentially what we have to do is we have to take 10 to the negative 2 and take that negative 2 and multiply it by 3, and that makes it negative 6, okay, as we're working through there. And so we know now that 10 to the negative 6 meters cubed is equal to, well, 3 times 1 is still just 1 centimeter cubed. Okay? Or 3, I said 3 times 1. Excuse me, 3. I apologize, students. My mom brain is kicking in. 1 cubed is 1 times 1 times 1 is still going to be a 1. Right? So now that we have this complex unit here, we plug that in at the top. We've used the correct numbers. We do our same basic thing. We're going to divide here because this is on the bottom. So we're going to do 800.4 divided by 10 to the 6th. That is going to give you a really long number when it comes out of your calculator. And if you think about how many zeros that is on there, probably easy to confuse that number of zeros when you're writing it out. So that's why I suggest the scientific notation approach, where that's 8.004 times 10 to the 8th power centimeters cubed. Okay, let's try problem 2 without any distractions and see if we can work that out very, very easily. Well, what do we have here? We have a problem where we need to know, is this one step or two step? Looking at this problem, we're going from a prefix unit to another prefix unit. That means that we are doing a two-step problem. So we're just going to have to use more of this chart. Let's go ahead and fill in our starting point. We know we have kilometers cubed. And so let's sort of think about together, what are we really trying to do? We're trying to get from kilometers cubed to our base unit of meters cubed, and then we'll have to go from meters cubed to centimeters cubed. Remember, every time I take this unit and it goes down to the bottom of the next step. Then the unit that I converted to down to the bottom of the next step until we get to the unit that we're ultimately trying to convert to. So we are going to have to write out some equivalent factors that we already know and then cube them and plug those into our problem. So what do we already know? We know that 1 kilometer is equal to 10 to the 3rd meters. Okay? And so what do we have to do to that? Well, again, what we have to do is we have to cube that and get our new conversion factor. So what do we have? 1 kilometer cubed is 10. Well, 3 times 3 is 9 meters cubed. Okay, and then we'll plug that in to our problem. So we know 10 to the 9th power goes here and 1 goes here. And again, Kilo is a prefix. The only number we should ever put with a prefix is a 1. So in the next step, what do we need to know? Well, we know that we have a centimeter, and we need to know how many meters that equals. So centi is a prefix, excuse me, and so it gets a 1. Centi means 10 to the negative 2, and then what we have to do is, again, we have to come back into this, and we have to cube this unit. So what is that really going to give us? 1 centimeter cubed is going to be equal to 10 to the, well, what do we have to do? 3 times negative 2, which is negative 6 meters cubed. Okay? And we have to plug that in. So we have 1, we have 10 to the negative 6. Now we're ready to solve this problem. It's taken us 2 steps, but we have to solve the problem by going through. We do the multiplication in the step 1. We do some division in step 2. Remember at this point to hit enter on your calculator and go to, do your multiplication, hit enter, do your division, hit enter, and get your final answer. And so what you should see is that you get 6 times 10 to the 11th centimeters cubed. This is automatically going to put that number into scientific notation for you because it's such a long, complex number. Okay, what I'd like for you to do is to try to do number 3 alone. Determine if it's a 1-step problem or 2-step problem. Once you've figured out if it's 2 steps, then please go through and actually attempt that. And then again, Ms. Kachan can run through that answer with you as you're going to see if you're getting that right. Okay, so the last little step of this is complex units, where we have to convert the top unit and the bottom unit. So notice before when we had complex unit, the bottom unit was the same. Well, now the bottom unit is different. So we're going to have to convert top unit and then convert the bottom unit. So what I would like to see you do is you're going to actually draw your own chart here. So I just draw a straight line across and just sort of start dividing it into sections. And let's fill in the first section with our starting point. What do we have? 74 meters per 1 second. Hey, Kelsey. Sorry again, I'm interrupting to calm my kids down so you can hear my video. Alright, 74 meters per second. We need to convert to kilometers. Well, I want you always to get into the habit of converting your top unit first. We need to convert our top unit from meters to kilometers. So that's going to be our next step. Meters to kilometers. Kilo is a prefix, so it gets a 1. We need to go to 10 to the, with kilo, that's 10 to the 3rd power. Alright, so once we've got that done, meters is now gone, and we're at kilometers. That's the unit that we wanted to get. Now we have to get from seconds to hours. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to do the bottom unit. So this is a little different. This is a little change. When the bottom unit is present, and we're trying to convert the bottom unit, you have to take the bottom unit to the top of that step and convert from seconds to, we don't typically convert from seconds to hours. So what we're going to do is convert from seconds to minutes first. Okay. So what do we know? That in 1 minute we have 60 seconds. So we've got that. Let's cross out seconds. We're done with that. We still need to keep going though, because we need to get to hours. So we're going to take that unit of a minute and go to the top and turn it into an hour. So we know that in 1 hour there are 60 minutes. And at this point, we're ready to solve this problem. So what you're going to just see is that, again, what do we have? Minutes is going to go away. We're left with hours. That's the unit that we're trying to get to. So when we do math here, we just have more steps. 74 divided by 10 to the 3rd power. And then we're going to hit enter and get our answer. We're going to multiply that answer by 60, hit enter, and then multiply that answer by 60 again. And ultimately what we should end up with is 266.4. And again, our unit is what's left over, kilometers per hour. Okay. So complex units just means that there are more steps involved. You have to just sort of keep working until you get to the units that you need, always using these equivalent factors that we are familiar with. Alright, so second one, 4.06 centimeters per hour to millimeters per second. So what I want you to look at is that top unit. We're going centimeters to millimeters. How many steps is that going to take us? Hopefully you're saying 2, because we're going from a prefix to a prefix. So that's going to take us 2 steps. So I'm going to go ahead and chart that out. What do I need? 4.06 centimeters per 1 hour. So centimeters, we're going to convert centimeters to the base unit of meters, and then from the base unit of meters to millimeters. All right, so let's go back and plug in our numbers. Centi is a prefix, it gets a 1. Centi tells us that we have 10 to the negative 2 meters. Okay, milli is a prefix, it gets the 1 in the next step. That tells us that we have 10 to the negative 3rd meters. So now we've converted our top unit. Then what we have to do is work to get from hours to seconds and convert that bottom unit. So we're going to go hours and minutes, again, because we don't think about how many seconds there are in an hour. So in 1 hour, we have 60 minutes. Then we're going to get rid of, now we've gotten rid of hours, we need to go from minutes to seconds. And we know that in 1 minute, we have 60 seconds. We've done a lot of steps here, but we've gotten all these equivalent factors in. We've canceled out all the units that we needed to cancel out, and I'll show you that now. Centimeters are gone, meters are gone, we're left with millimeters. And then we converted hours to minutes, converted minutes to seconds, and we were left with the units that we needed. And what we will actually do is just do first step multiplication, second step division, third step division, fourth step division, and ultimately you should get an answer which looks like this. You're going to get 0.0112778, and what is that? Millimeters per second. And again, if you want to do that in scientific notation, 1.127 times 10 to the negative 2 millimeters per second. And again, that's up to you. I'm not going to be a stickler for how you get there. Try that last problem on your own just to see sort of how you can do with that. And again, Miss Kachan will have an answer key there for you so that you can see if you're doing that right. Hopefully those are making sense to you and you get a lot of practice in your dimensional analysis practice.